What's up guys, my name's Sean, welcome to a fresh new video on my channel. I'm gonna do something a little bit different in this video today. So I'm in a few Facebook groups that are for up-and-coming YouTubers to give and receive advice, and today I'm filming this video with those groups in mind. In these groups, I see a lot of posts where people ask the best way to make a thumbnail for your YouTube video, and more often than not, the answer I usually see is apps and websites like Canva that use templates and kind of hold your hand through the entire process of making a thumbnail for your video. But what if I told you that you could make your own thumbnail completely from scratch and it won't cost you a single penny? I know, right? I just blew your mind, didn't I? So first things first, as a fair warning, if you don't have a computer and you do all of your editing and filming with your phone, then this tutorial probably is not going to work for you, and Canva might just be your best bet for that. But if you do have a computer, I'm about to show you how you can make your own thumbnail using completely free software. You just need two things. First, a little bit of creativity. Second, is a program called GIMP. GIMP is a free, easy-to-use Photoshop program that has just about as much to offer as expensive programs like Adobe Photoshop. As a matter of fact, I have on my computer both Adobe Photoshop and GIMP, and I prefer GIMP because of how easy it is to use, honestly. If this video helps you at all, please leave a like, it would be greatly appreciated. And on that note, let's get right into it. Sorry about my messy desktop, I usually use dual monitors, so it's typically not this cluttered, but this is GIMP. You can search GIMP on Google, and it's the first thing that'll pop up. You can download it completely for free. When you first open up the program, this is what it'll look like. When you first see it, it can look kind of intimidating, and that's completely normal. There are a ton of tools here, but for now, you're going to learn just the basics of making a decent thumbnail. First, I'm going to show you how you can take an image and get rid of the background color, so instead it has a transparent background. For example, this picture of Courage the Cowardly Dog. It has a white background that I don't want in my thumbnail. You drag it into GIMP, and notice how when you add the picture, it shows up in the box on the right. Those are your layers, and anything you add, such as text, will be shown up as its own layer in this box to the right here. First, you want to right-click the layer and select Add Alpha Channel. That makes it so there's a transparent layer behind the image. Now, choose the Fuzzy Select tool, which looks like a magic wand, and click the color that you want to remove. Then on your keyboard, use Ctrl-X to remove the selected portion. Then, if needed, you can hold down Ctrl and scroll on your mouse to zoom in and remove any leftover bits that need to be removed by using the same tool and Ctrl-X again. Once it's all removed, it's always good practice to click Image, then Mode, and then make sure RGB is selected, especially if you're going to be using this image in Adobe Premiere or really any other video editing software. If you don't, it won't keep that transparent background. Next, you want to click File, then Export. Make sure you're selecting a file where you can find your exported image. In my case, it's just my desktop. Now, it's really important that you save the image as a .png file, because if you don't, the transparent background will go away. I didn't change the name of the file because it was already a PNG file, so when I export, I choose to replace the original image on my desktop. And now that we're done with making the background transparent on all of our images, you want to make sure that you have all the images you'll need for your thumbnail. For me, it's a background and a few images from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Next, you're going to go back to GIMP and click File and then New to make a new project. Make sure your dimensions are set to 1280 by 720, which is the correct size for a YouTube thumbnail. This creates the blank canvas that you're going to be covering with creativity. First, you want to go ahead and remove the background layer, which will leave you with just a layer of transparency. Next, we're going to take our background and drop it onto the canvas. It's good practice to make sure that your background is at least 1280 by 720 to make sure that it won't be blurry or pixelated. First, we take our Scale tool to change the size of the background layer. Click on the image that you want to change the scale of and hold down Ctrl while you drag to change the scale of the background. Next, you can use your free Select tool to move the background so that it's exactly where you want it. After that, I usually start by picking the biggest part of my thumbnail and putting it on the background first. In my case, it's the logo of the show with a picture of Courage. I use the Scale tool again to make the logo bigger. It's important to make sure the words in your thumbnail are large so that people using small devices like cell phones can read it and that it easily catches the eye of any potential viewers. Next, you can use your free select tool to move the image exactly where you want it on the thumbnail. Next, I'm going to add some words by clicking the text tool that has the letter A on it. Click and drag on the screen to create a text box, then use the menu on the left side to choose your font. I usually try not to pick something too over the top and distracting. Next, we add our text, and then you want to highlight it and use the text menu to change the size of the text to your liking. Next, you can use the menu on the left to change the color of the text. Try not to pick a color that'll blend too much with the background. With my purple background, purple text isn't the best choice. So I end up going with bright green because I really like the way it contrasts with the purple background. At this point, I realized I wanted the word iconic to really pop in comparison to the rest of the words in the thumbnail, so I removed the word iconic from that text box and made it its own text box so I can turn it into what I like to call a pop word. I do as I did before and add the word as well as change the size of the font, initially making it way too big. Don't do that. Once I get it into the right size, I change the color to match the rest of the text. Now this is where the fun starts. Now, what I'm about to do is a big no-no. I'm only doing this to show you the wrong way to outline your letters, and definitely not because it's an old habit that's still dying pretty hard. First, we right-click our text layer, then click Alpha to Selection. That'll select the outline of the text. Next, you want to click the Select in the top left corner and Grow. I usually like to grow by about 5. Next is where I make the big mistake. I choose the Bucket tool and attempt to color in that selected outline. Once it's all colored in, I hold down Ctrl, Shift, and A to deselect the outline, and notice how pixelated and messed up the text looks now. Definitely don't do it like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the correct way to do it, but this time I'm going to use the word iconic. I start by selecting the outline around the word iconic using Alpha to Selection, just like I did with the other words. Then I go up to Select and Grow, just like before. But this time, instead of the Bucket tool, I click this little paper icon on the right side, which adds a completely new layer. I title the new layer Glow, so I know that new layer is the outline specifically. Then, with my new layer selected, I use the Bucket tool to fill in the section with yellow. After that, you want to click the glow layer and drag it down below the words underneath it, so the words are now on top of the glow layer. Now to put the finishing touches on it, go up to Filters in the top left and Blur, then click Gaussian Blur. Change the blur radius. I usually like to start with about 10. Click OK, and that'll change the outline to more of a glowing kind of effect. Next, right-click your glow layer and click Duplicate. This will make an exact copy of that layer. Now, with the copy of your glow layer selected, click Filters and Gaussian Blur again, this time making the radius a little higher. I like to go with 25 for the second round of blur. Then we're going to repeat that same step one last time, make a copy of the glow layer and do it all again. Click Filters, then Blur and Gaussian Blur, this time going for an even higher number. I usually like to go for about a 40 for my last glow layer. That really makes the word pop in comparison to the rest of the words. Now that we have our pop word in, I'm going to add my next piece of the thumbnail. I went with the mask that Eustace usually uses to scare Courage with. I move it over the spot where I want it, and I use my scale tool to make sure it's the right size for my thumbnail. Next, I use the rotate tool to make the mask tilt just a little bit, which I feel like makes it look a little more natural in the thumbnail. Just like we did with our pop word, I decided I want to make the mask glow the same way. So just like before, I right-click the mask layer and click Alpha to Selection. Then I click Select in the top corner and Grow by 5. I make the new layer, this time giving it a different name so I don't get it confused with my other glow layers. Then I drag the mask layer up so it is now above my glow layer. One thing that's really important is to make sure that you have your glow layer selected when you add your blur, because if you don't, you'll be blurring something else and not your glow layer. Just like before, I add 3 layers of Gaussian blur to make the mask pop, just like I did for the word iconic. Now, this is where I would leave the thumbnail if I was lazy and okay with pixelated text, but I'm not. So I delete that layer and I break out the old text tool to start that part completely over. After getting the text just right, I use Alpha to a Selection again and Grow. Then, just like with my glow layers, I create a new layer, but this time instead of a glow, it's just an outline. So I color it white and drag the text layer up so the words are over the outline. Now, I'm ready to call it a day. So I go up to File, Export, and I make sure it's saving as a .png file, which really is just a personal preference for me. I'm pretty sure you can use a JPEG for the actual thumbnail itself when you upload it to YouTube, but just out of personal preference, I like to go with a PNG file. And there you have it. Now that's what I call a thumbnail. But now I need you to do me a huge favor. I'm gonna have the video that we just made that thumbnail for linked in the description down below, as well as on screen in the corner. Hopefully. I need you to watch that video for me, and if you enjoy it, then please subscribe to my channel. Honestly, I don't plan on making very many how-to videos, and I can't stress enough that my channel is not a how-to channel, but if you do enjoy the contents of my video about Courage the Cowardly Dog, then please subscribe so you don't miss a single one of my videos. I hope that this video helped you out, and that now you can make your own thumbnails without having to rely on some corny templates made by some website. Thanks again for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Peace!